Welcome back to Relationship Rescue, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of relationships, empowering you to master communication, set healthy boundaries, and create lasting love. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by an extraordinary guest, world renowned relationship expert, best selling author, and transformational coach, Susan Winter. You might have seen Susan sharing her powerful insights on platforms like the Oprah Winfrey Show, CNN, or Cosmopolitan Magazine. Or perhaps you've explored her wisdom through her YouTube channel that's captivated millions. Susan specializes in helping singles and couples navigate modern dating dynamics, overcome relationship hurdles, and foster genuine, meaningful connections. In today's conversation, Susan reveals why relationships can sometimes feel so complicated and what you can do about it. We'll uncover how your mindset shapes your love life, discuss common blind spots that keep people stuck, and explore how changing your inner narrative can lead to profound breakthroughs in love and intimacy. Whether you're single and ready to attract your ideal partner or in a relationship wanting deeper emotional intimacy, Susan's insights will give you the clarity, confidence, and practical tools to transform your love life from ordinary to extraordinary. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for a conversation that might just change the way you see love forever. Let's dive in. Here's my inspiring conversation with the incredible Susan Winter. Susan, thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I love that you are a love coach. Now, what inspired you to start this journey?
I didn't plan it. I was retired. I was
Okay.
playing golf and built my dream home in the country. I'd left New York after 10 years of crime and harassment and had a whole different career, opera singer, then to financial news. Oh, I was the original voice on all business answering systems. And I
Wow.
remember I had to call the car insurance company once and I heard my own voice because I didn't even know what I was recording. I was working for AT&T. I was in a recording studio. One, two. For customer service, press 1. For billing, press 2. For accounts payable, press 3. For accounts receivable, press 4. We're closed due to inclement weather. July 4th holiday. Blah, 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 blah. So I had then I had a show on Financial News Network, which is now CNBC. And at that point, I was just like, I've done everything. I've had these 3 different careers. I'm taking my chips. I'm building a home in the country on a golf course. And I eventually gave up my New York City apartment. The kind of home you choose for the country, no restaurants, no culture. It makes sense when you live in a city that's vibrant. But when you move totally, I went, I'm single. This is my dating market. Oh my goodness. It was so rural. There was no bus or train into New York City. I called the sales center as I built my house. I called the sales center and I said, where can we find men with fingers and teeth? And she said, seriously, fingers and teeth. There's a high bar requirement. Some people want money. They got a 6'5", blue eyes, trust fund. I just wanted fingers and teeth. That was my bottom line. And she said, get in your car and go east 1 hour. I'm like, oh, back to New York City. A long story short, when I was there, I fell in love with a much younger man. And when I say much, I mean 20 years younger. Now,
Mhm.
I didn't know his age. He didn't know mine. I looked 15 years younger than I was. He looked 10 years older. I knew him socially from my gym. We yacked and talked about metaphysics and spirituality and dating for a year before I ever knew his age. I didn't ever think he was attracted to me. Our first date was to a metaphysical church, which means positive thinking. That's all it is. And I looked at him and I thought, oh, this is my kryptonite. So that time, that place, Valerie, is a no-no. I mean, in 1995, it was kind of a no-no for an older woman with a younger man, unless she
Right.
was a celebrity. I mean,
Mhm.
Cher could do it, but I clearly wasn't Cher. And you could do it in New York City because nobody cares less, but you cannot do it with no fingers and no teeth country.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Oh my God. So I was universally hated. And I went through that for about 5 years, just the persecution. It was, these are people that have nothing better to do than to make stories because it's so much more interesting that, they love each other, they live together, they're monogamous. This they didn't want to hear. thought I was a witch. I put a spell on him. There were girls that wouldn't serve me in the grocery store. They thought I'd put a spell on. It was unbelievable. I felt like I was dropped into dark mirror or outer limits, and I thought, why? So I dug deep into my spirituality. But what happened is a casual comment from a friend said, "We should write a book." I said, "About what?" She said, "Older women and younger men." So I thought she knew how to do this stuff. So all I did was write. She typed for me. I wrote by hand. Within 6 months, we'd sold it to unknown authors. And she helped me get the proposal and the query letter. I did not know how to do that. I knew the experience because I'd lived it. So it was the first time to be able to purge because I couldn't tell him. I had no friends out there. I wasn't working. I had retired. He was my lifeline. So I know what it's like to be obsessed, and I know what it's like to be needing somebody. And the pressure that he had from his family was so great, he couldn't back me up. So it just got to be worse and worse. But the book, Older Women, Younger Men, New Options for Love and Romance, brought me to this career because I realized I was fighting for people that had a love that wasn't allowed. I could have been gay, could have been a different color than my partner, could have been a different religion, different caste. And I realized it's a much bigger issue. And when I was fighting for other people that didn't have a voice, that's when I had real like power. I was in the front lines, like the infantry, like, yeah, bring it on. And having worked in television and camera and coming from stage my whole life, it was easy to speak to people on camera. And so that book prompted me to do the entire arc. And I had every interview in the world. I've had so much press to this day. I can't tell you. I don't ask for it. It comes.
Comes, yeah.
So, you're New York Times, you're aligned with all these different companies, you're asked to be on Oprah, all these things. So by the time I was on Oprah, I'm like, I'm done. Whatever that thing was, it's once you tell Oprah, it's never going to be the same. It's done. And so then I looked around at the dating market, Valerie, and I'm like, this is a mess. People are jumping into bed with each other. They're hooking up. They're all upset. I thought maybe I have something I can contribute. So that's how I found my way here.
Wow. What a
Yeah,
journey.
unexpected. Well, sometimes life will kick you in a direction. You're like, I'm going here. I'm going here. This is where I'm going to go. And life goes, yeah, I got something for you, like that. Right?
No, but I love you said that the difference, and people find that very interesting. People always they have a mediocre life and their mediocre relationship. So when they see something, then it's exciting. It's exciting to talk about it because you're not doing the action, you're just talking about it. And I always say talk is cheap, right? So everybody writes, everybody says their opinion. And then that makes them feel good about themselves. But yet they are really suffering in their own relationship with the people that are their own age. Or like you said, it could be different gender or different color. But unfortunately, people just like drama. So I'm
Oh,
glad that
yeah.
you said that you fought for people saying that's not the point. That's not the point. That who you're going with is how committed you are, how loving your relationship, how much of all of that matter versus just looking at from exterior and saying that, oh well, she's older and he's younger.
Well, they assumed, I mean, it's a real commentary on women.
Yeah.
It's assuming, like, dude, she's old. What do you want with her? Like they used to ask him to be on television shows and on the radio, and I'm like, hey, excuse me, I wrote the book. I'm the author. What are you talking about? And he was like, he's always going on. And I thought to myself, they, God forbid you're a woman and you get older. It's assumed that who would want you? So I think that was the thing that really keyed into Oprah because remember, she first sent a black and white film crew to shoot in my apartment. I had a huge apartment at the time. And you could see the New York skyline from behind. And I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I said, it isn't even about young guys. It's about us having more options. They're just one example. Men have been
Right.
doing this for years. What, we can't?
Right. Right. Oh, we can debate
And
on that for so long.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not for everybody. I'm not advocating it as a lifestyle, but I fell in love with an intelligent, charismatic, dynamic, atypical man for his age. And it was just so controversial that it spawned an unexpected career. And I think sometimes that's the beauty of these horrific challenges or these
Hmm.
liaisons that I'm sure your clients and your followers have had this. You have a connection with somebody. It
Yeah.
might turn out, it might be disastrous, but it somehow alters the course of your life. That input bumps up against you and creates some other thing that creates
Absolutely.
another thing. And it's a part of the puzzle of your life that I think adds to, can add to it, you know?
Oh yeah, I interviewed another relationship coach, and she brought a point because when you're in a relationship, you learn so much about yourself. You cannot
Yeah.
do it alone. You know, when you're with
No,
somebody, you learn a lot about yourself, that what you like are and what you not. Because alone, we are all good. You know how bad you can get within yourself, but it's when you have someone else and then you're happy. That's like magic. It's like wow,
I agree.
right? It's
Yeah.
like how can somebody else love me for all of me?
That's the big thing, isn't it?
As
And do two people ever love equally? I mean, I'm going to say something controversial, and I hope your
please do.
people don't. But I've never seen, nor have I experienced two people that love each other equally. Close, very close, in a very healthy relationship. It's very, very close. But it always seems like there's one person far more dedicated, and the other one doesn't want to, but could walk with a little more ease. And so I think our fairy book version of what we think love is, and then what healthy love is a little bit different. I
Different
think
than
I think that you are right. Somebody that brings out the best in you and somebody who allows you to be yourself and shine, that's a beautiful partnership. And some people cast the light on you, and other people love having the light cast on them. And that
yeah.
works too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what are some clear signs that a partner is serious about committing to a relationship or just simply wasting your time?
Yeah, the time wasters talk big. If you notice, everything is in the future. Oh, we should do this. Oh my God, we've got to do that. Can't you? And they cast a dream. It's not today, it's someplace in the future. It could even be next week or years from now. But what they say is delicious. And what they deliver are crumbs. And somebody who's serious actually shows up, takes time, and makes you a priority. And you know, because you don't feel anxious on the inside, because they really are coming toward you. If you feel anxious at all, it's because, oh, this feels weird. Because I've had people that run the opposite way or people that are dicey. What's going on? This is too good to be true. So you might think that, but they're consistent.
Ah,
That's
wow.
healthy.
Yeah, yeah. Is it promising the tomorrow always?
You know, when I think of the ones that have really cast a spell on me, and it's a delicious drug, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's a, like any high, there's a down. You crash, right? I think uh, it was always the future plans. And somehow it's like great salespeople. They just know what you want to hear and they wrap it in that thing where somehow it not only edifies every dream you've ever had about a relationship, but it also like somehow maybe ties into your career, like, oh, we'll travel the world and you can take photos for your travel blog and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I know this guy and I know that guy. Think of the fun we'll have together. Oh, you're perfect for this. We'll go to black tie affairs. My friend knows how to get into the Met Gala, whatever it is. I think that's the selling point.
I can add to that also. I've seen a lot of patterns on people excusing their other area of their life for having that commitment. I work too much. It's my job. Like those are
Okay.
also some signals that a lot of men and women use in order to just be at the moment in due, but it's really not committed. I feel like when they keep using their
Yeah.
health, no,
Yeah.
I got to work on myself. I'm working on myself, or my job, I'm working too much, or I'm going to the gym, or I have to do this, I have to, I got to hang out with my friends. I got to always there's excuses of doing other things besides focusing on the relationship and at least putting an effort.
Yeah, that's a layered goodbye. That's backpedaling. That's the prelude. Yeah, what do you call it? Like the trailer that you see,
Mm.
preview of coming attractions. By the time they start feeding you the breadcrumbs of, I've got a really busy, just I want to let you know I'm really into you, but we've got this special program that I've got to travel out of town. It's like You got two other people on the side. I mean, I remember when I was dating for information, I dated bad boys for 6 years. I did not know what to tell women. I mean, suddenly these gals are hooking up and sleeping with guys and falling off the assembly line. And I'm thinking, they're not going to listen to me. I've been in long-term committed loving partnerships where I lived with my partner. And like, I don't know how to talk to them. So I went out and I tried to replicate, with the exception of the fact I don't drink, I tried to replicate what they were kind of doing to the best of my dispositional ability. And I realized that not only do the people fall off, they keep getting somebody new so they don't notice, but I also noticed that they are susceptible to understanding that dream and they will be held in place, just as you said, by those markers saying, I'm too busy. You're really a great person. I wish I had more time to see you. We've got this project. I just want to let you know. Or do you remember about 10 years ago, the 3-month rule? Do you remember your
Oh
girls
yeah.
go through
Yep,
that?
yep, yep, yep.
All the millennials would sleep with their guy for 3 months and then finally have the courage to say, by the way, where's this going? And he's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not looking for a relationship. I just decided to test drive you for 3 months and now I'm going to renew with somebody else. Nice.
Right, right.
Bye.
I always say that when they bring these excuses that the my favorite one is that I'm not ready. I'm
Well,
not
then
ready.
why did you start?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Why would somebody, it's like getting on the road knowing you're going to be a bad driver. Why would you do that?
Why would
That's
you do
so
that?
selfish.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is your advice for young adults, men and women out there
Mm.
that are going through all of these drama, like you said, we talked about, to set some clear boundaries and dating people without pushing them away?
I like to have, so I'm really big on the honesty conversation. And if it scares them, you already know what you got. I tell all my followers and my clients that the first time you meet them, in your own language, say something like this. Look, getting to meet people is weird. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'd like to have this agreement. I'm really honest. I will tell you the truth. And if I'm not into you, I'm not going to ghost you. I won't lie to you. I'll just say I'm not. Please, I want you to know you have the right to say the same thing to me. No one's bad. No one's wrong. I'm not going to hate you. But if it's not working, let's have a code. Hey, nice to meet you. Not working for me. All is good. And we can go our separate ways. Are you cool with that? Some version. That's a very, kind of
Right, right.
paraphrased version. If you can get them to agree to that, you have overcome the major hurdle, which is the breadcrumbing. Like, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to say I don't want to see them. I might want to see them. I don't know what I'm doing with them. It's just so much easier because then you have the right to have a conversation. Hey, it looks like you're not as motivated or you don't have time. Are you having second thoughts? If you are, just let me know. And if
Yeah.
they don't answer, say, just here's a simple question. Uh, A, I want to see you again. B, I think I'm moving on.
Right.
it's,
No,
it's really simple.
that is so clear. That is so clear. And I really encourage our listeners to do that. I mean, back in the days, me and you, what happened to the, like, you sit with somebody and it's like simply saying that, what are you looking for? You
I
know?
know. I know.
It's
And they told you what they were looking for. And wait, back in the days, even earlier, I remember when the only reason a person would snoop around you and sniff around and keep trying to get your attention was for a committed relationship, probably to be married and have a
yeah,
family with you. I
yeah,
mean, that was the norm. You had to work to avoid that.
yeah.
Now you have to work to get into it. But I think, due to our informational system, it is so much easier because we have so many clues that we're giving people
Mm,
that they just didn't have years ago. And you think of when the pickup artists started in the early 2000s and people were so confused because they were charismatic and congenial. And these gals thought, wow, I've got this really cool guy and he's really into me and he's so interesting. And you didn't know he was just
yeah.
racking up body count. And the same thing goes with men. And men, your wealthy men or your successful men or just your generous men that are watching. I mean, dating is different for you now.
Yeah.
First dates are considered. If you don't take me to Paris, I'm not even. You're not even on my dance card. I mean, what is this? It's crazy.
And do you think that those desires for men and women that in today's society coming in, I believe that, but let's see if you agree or disagree on a lot of them, I feel like from the lack of knowing yourself.
Yes, you're Valerie. You're right. I mean, and in knowing yourself, and the second part of that, being honest with yourself. I, you know, I remember talking to men very honestly and saying, "Dude, you don't do monogamy. Are you going to go through another divorce? You've always had a girl on the side, and then you marry the mistress, and then you get married, and then you've got another one. I mean, like, maybe you shouldn't marry. Like, have you thought about that? Like, just know who you are and have the courage to say, hey, I don't do monogamy, or hey, I only do monogamy. Just be honest. That's all you can do. Now, if they play you because of that, at
What's
least
that?
you were honest, you
Yeah,
know?
sometimes you lose, but majority of the time, if we can come with that
Yeah,
communication and clear
yeah,
ourselves of what it is that they want, and your values and your beliefs, that what you believe and what you values should always be on top of your priority. And then
exactly.
as you go out, whether you're meeting somebody for first time or whether you're dating somebody for a while, that should not be negotiable.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, silly questions like I used to ask guys, I said, like, so how many other women are you seeing? Oh, I'm not seeing anybody. No, no, for real. Like, who's your weekend girl as opposed to who's your
Yeah.
business, the girl that you bring around your business? I remember this guy hitting on me, and I just had a vibe about him. I remember this gal seeing her at a public event with him, and she was just, you could tell she was Google eyes. I said, what happened to that one? I described it. I said, I got a feeling you got one. Probably you see midweek, last
Yeah.
minute, New Jersey. Another one you bring only to the business affairs. And another one you see on the weekend. He said, you're right, Susan. Actually, she doesn't live in New Jersey. She lives in Long Island. Sorry. And he said, but I'd make room for you. I said, really? You'd make room for me? Would I be number four? Would I get moved up the slot? I mean, this is financial service guys. They're unbelievable. I'm
Yeah.
like, really?
Right, right. The enticement. It's like, oh wow, you this is
Oh
this
my
is
God.
this is great. This is great. But definitely those questions because they are so tense. Like for example, meeting a guy, should I have sex with a guy? Should I not have a sex with a guy? Should I like we said, should I ask him like what are you looking for or not? They're so cautious of all of that.
I
But
know.
once you know yourself of who you are, listen, I if I like a guy and if I find it attractive, if I have sleep in the first night, I'm good. You
Yeah.
know, be forward, know who you are, and don't let that bother you later.
So I did a video a long time ago for gals that choose that. I mean, that's cool. Women should have the right to be sexual as well. But I titled it, You Slept with Him, Own It.
Yes.
Meaning, yeah, meaning don't then turn around and give that man the right to disregard you or not and make that equal to your worth. If you choose proactively, it's like breaking a diet. Like, I want to have this treat. I know
Hmm.
I'm going to gain a little weight. Screw it. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to enjoy myself. No guilt, no second thoughts. That's what I wanted. On with the next. If you have that kind of disposition where you can take it and enjoy it and let it go and not need it to be more, great. If you attach, if you know that you have a psychological nature where you merge with people and you know that it's going to cost you, you know the arc of your relationships, then is the time to start to be more cautious, move more slowly, make sure that the ground underneath your feet is stable.
Moving from that, what are some signs that you could tell a person that yes, they love me, they're not just playing with me? And because we said they use all the dialogues, they do all the right things, and sometimes they're together, but how can you tell? What are some things that guys and girls look for to say, you know what, she or he truly loves me, it's not all game and fun?
So, my I had a boyfriend who was German, and I mean very German. Like, that is a concept within itself. The day he picked up my dog's poop, I knew he loved me. That's not that was not an easy thing for him. He didn't have a dog. So I'm like, okay, I know he loves you. He picked up my dog's poop. In New York, everybody, this is just saying this is what we do. They're little baggies.
Right.
Um, how do you know they love you? You feel relaxed on the inside and you can be yourself. And you know that being yourself is okay. You can be less than perfect. You can be bloated. You can fart. You can have a pimple in the center of your nose, and it's all good. They're still there. That's, they love you. Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it's if you've never felt it yet, it's harder to understand what it is. So if you just feel safe and comfortable, that's a pretty good barometer that you might be in something very good.
I love that. Feeling safe.
Hmm.
You have to feel safe.
I agree. You have to, if you think of all the bad relationships where you never know the day the rug's going to be pulled out from underneath you, because it happens, it's that intermittent reward. They're nice, 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 then boom, they're gone. They're weird. They pick a fight with you because they want to go away from you, because they want to see somebody else. They want to have a breakup so they can sleep with somebody else and then come back to you and have makeup sex. It's great. And then, like, you're always walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
But with the healthy person, they're more communicative, they're more responsible, they don't blame you, they listen and they try and get to conflict resolution, which even the best relationship, two people love each other, doesn't mean they're going to work it out. And
I,
people get very confused by this. They think, well, if we love each other, but love is not always enough. I have a client who's I'm very proud of him. He's a big voice actor and star out in Hollywood that does a lot of these when they make games
mhm.
into they're voice actors that do these video games. And you know, he would need to entirely relocate to another part of the world that has no opportunity for him to be with the woman he loves. She also is trying to up her career and would have to be on the road. So what, he's going to be in a place that offers him no opportunity and wait for her while she's on the road for 6 months. So they each loved each other, but they were at points in their career that the ultimate sacrifice to be together would be losing themselves. They loved each other. It was real. It was pure. They were both sobbing, but they had to be true to themselves because it was unworkable at that point in time. At that point
Mhm.
in time. Or you love somebody and like you can't see a lifestyle together. They're going this way, they grow this way, you're growing this way. Maybe you sign up for somebody that wants to live in the city, and that's where you get your life force and you're vibrant, and that's your community, and you feel wonderful and productive. And they want to now go off off grid and live someplace in a rural area and chop wood. And you're like, I love electricity. I like putting on my high heels. I'm not doing this. So sometimes love isn't enough.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. I feel like love is like that first they say in cloud nine that you are, and you just love is blind. Love is
Yeah.
blind. You don't see anything, you
Yeah.
don't hear
Yeah.
anything. It
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
good for a little bit and then it just fade away. And then you feel like you said either safe, you fall
Yeah.
into that level, or you know
Hmm.
that, you know what, I don't
Yeah.
have that strength to go an extra mile to do this for you.
Yeah.
I love you, but unfortunately I can't.
And a lot of people, Valerie, I'm sure you know this with your clients, they confuse that arc of the honeymoon period. You are basically, your body is hijacked by drugs, the most wonderful drugs in the world: dopamine, testosterone, oxytocin. I mean, you have a flood of cocktails where the sky is bluer. You walk around, people say, oh my God, you look radiant. What is it? You look like I'm in love. And then, you wait 3 or 4 months and they're like, you got a really ugly, funky toenail. Like, they got bad breath in the morning. It's like it gets real. And then that, like you say, cloud nine, the cloud bursts and there you are. So,
Standing under the rain.
oh, yeah,
With your makeup dripping down, and you're like, what the fuck did
yeah,
I do?
yeah, 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 that's it. So that's normally, I think, the most difficult time period to break up is during the honeymoon. phase. And I've had a lot of kickback from this because people think, oh, no, no, a 20-year relationship that ends. That's dismantling for a completely different reason. You were done. You checked the list. I got my husband, I got my kids, I got whatever, I
Yeah.
got my wife. I'm settled. Oh my God, now I have to lose the house I worked for. Oh my God, I'm going to live in a small apartment. She's going to take all the money. Who am I going to? Yeah, I'm losing my hair now. I don't want to start dating. The woman is like, it's just, uh, but it's different because when you come off the honeymoon period, and if you have a breakup in that honeymoon period, you don't have resentments yet. You don't
Mm,
know the downside of them. You haven't seen them fail. They're still perfect. They're perfect. They're the ideal that they showed you. And so you think you're being dumped by the most incredible opportunity of it's harder than having lived with somebody for a year, 2 years, 3 years. That's a different, that's more, mm, that's more your survival technique, and it's dismantling like it is moving or getting a new job. It's shaking the foundation, but you've got resentments. They weren't perfect. There were days they were angry and snippy. And so it's a different component, but you lose the perfect person in a honeymoon
yeah.
breakup.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you see them for who they are. And
Hopefully.
then all those excuses comes in because now you're too long with them, or like you said, the house, the kids, the marriage, the
Yeah.
age, the
Yeah.
society expectation, family
Yeah.
expectations. So you go deeper and deeper. But it's important to recognize that to give yourself a time. Don't commit to anything
Mhm.
too soon
Right. I agree.
until
And
you
we
know.
want to because we get so, we're so anxious, like, oh my gosh, is this a good one? Is this, did I finally get it? Oh, did I finally get somebody that, oh, I've worked so hard and I've had so many disappointments, and we want to latch on so quickly and we have to fight ourselves. And it's
Mm.
not our fault. I mean, biology baits us. I mean, it wants us to procreate. This is what this whole going brain dead is about. It wants to keep the species alive. So we got a whole lot of things working against us. Plus, we're
Yeah.
literally drugged.
And
So,
and now if even I don't know if you noticed that, but I noticed with a lot of my client and a lot of my listeners are that is shifting. So couple of years ago, we were going through that cloud nine and going through that. Okay, I see him for or she for who he or she is. But now, before that, young adults or before that, they have this checklist. Oh my God, I'm like 31. I should just go just because I have to pick somebody,
I
and they're
know.
doing that before they even enter the relationship, and that's what the whole thing becomes shaky.
So how do you advise your clients out of that, or how, give them another perspective?
Oh, when my clients bring age to me, for me, I can't even relate to that because I was married when I was 15, honey. Can't get any younger than that. And guess what? Didn't
Right.
do jack shit.
Okay.
End up
Okay.
divorced. Okay, so
Okay.
age doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I believe that if you are out there and looking for somebody and want to have, like you said, decent, healthy relationship, which is not
Yeah.
always going to be 100%.
Yeah.
One is going to love one more than the other, and with all of this stuff going on, I would definitely say know yourself. Know yourself, what your likes
Right.
and dislikes are, with the good, bad, and ugly. Don't fix yourself.
Right.
I hate when people say I'm working on myself. I'm like, okay. For now, you're good.
Oh, oh, so some people use that as an excuse to
Yeah,
not get into a relationship, and oddly, the ones that really should do that don't.
yeah,
They're like driving drunk, right?
yeah.
In the dating freeway.
So my
But
advice, like you said, my advice is for them to just know what you want. Like
yeah,
you said, go out there. If you find somebody attractive, start conversation.
yeah,
Put all your cards down. Put all
yeah.
your cards down. You got nothing
I
to
love
lose.
this. I love this because years ago I was chastised for being very honest. Because really, Valerie, I mean, it's not an easy task to be honest with yourself. And even
Yeah,
if you can truly be brutally honest with what you want, then to have the courage to say that to another human being, not knowing how they'll react to it, is difficult because a lot of girls didn't say they wanted to be married because, oh, I want to look cool. Maybe I'll scare him off. I'm like, lady, if that scares him off, he's so far from wanting what you want.
yeah.
You will waste biological years that you want to get like with a baby. So you can't.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think it's really important, and I think it's very important to be honest because if you don't establish a baseline for honesty in the beginning, it is going to be very hard to do it after sex.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
going to be very hard to do it mid relationship because you don't want to blow that pink bubble that you're living in.
Yeah.
And because God forbid I tell him that that really hurts me. I
Yeah.
keep seeing him stare at other women, or she keeps saying, "Oh my God, this guy had so much money that she was dating, and he bought her this and that, and I'm feeling insecure, and I wish she wouldn't do that." We're afraid to speak up, and so if we can't learn to speak up in the beginning, it's going to be doubly hard to try it mid relationship.
Yeah, yeah. I really highly recommend people to do that in the beginning,
Me
and
too.
the place that you are. Because I mean, think about it for me and you, right? What we did like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was different than it is now. So we could have said to ourselves, oh, back then, now we look back, we were like, we were so stupid to do something like that. But now, are you gonna wait 30 years to get that one thing and miss the opportunity to find somebody? No, you don't.
Yeah.
So you're good
Right.
now. Just jump
Right.
right in, be honest, go there, and then, like I said, you have nothing to lose.
And it's easier because you can filter through the people right away.
Yeah.
I mean, if honesty and if you saying what you want scares them, or you get that. So always, you said you do a lot with body language before we started recording this,
Hmm.
and it's really good if you ever say to somebody like, "Yeah, I do monogamy and I like committed relationships," and you see this
Yeah.
like that look in there, like, "Oh shit," that "oh shit" look, where they're smiling, like trying to cover it, like, "Oh, hell, I don't want to do this. How am I going to play along? Because I'd really like to sleep with them and use them for a little bit of time. How am I going to get around this?" Um, yeah, that startled look. Hmm.
So I'm gonna answer my answer after you tell me. But how much sharing is too much of a sharing? Like you want to
Oh,
share and be
oh yeah.
yourself, but yet you don't want to scare them either.
I remember before I was actually in this business, I remember doing a lot of work with 12-step groups. And you'd have these girls going out on a first date going, "So, like, I'm a heroin addict and my father raped me and this and that." I'm not anybody, please don't get triggered by this, but this is not first date sharing. That
Conversation.
is oversharing. You're putting that person in a horrible. This is something that is your history. Is it something you will want to share with you? But not on a first date, not on a second, not on a third. Make sure that there's solid ice underneath you before you go out there because it's a lot for somebody to handle. If that's your background, you will have to have somebody that is attuned to that, but you can step up to it gradually. So oversharing. Listen, everybody knows you shouldn't talk badly about your last partner. It only reflects badly upon you. You should be over your last partner and don't be chatting about them. Because I knew that when I was trying to get over somebody, I was having these dates with guys. I was just walking through the motions, Valerie. I wasn't ready, but I was trying to alleviate my own pain. This was years ago. And I remember one guy saying, "I'd really like to date you, but you are so clearly in love with your ex. I'm just going to call this. I think we should just finish our meal and leave." And I said, "Okay," because he was right. Yeah, he was right.
Yeah.
So we know that. Don't trash your ex, and be. And I think some people don't like the fact that we tell them what we want because they think that they will use it against us. And like we agreed upon a little bit earlier, it's almost better to be direct with the chance that they'll be in line with that. And we've been honest and take our chances that somebody might come in to fool us. That is possible. However, at least you've laid out the groundwork for somebody and that honesty can guide them. And I wouldn't worry if they don't respond to it because maybe it's not for them. That's cool, you know?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I almost like a color coded, and I tell my clients like you have to, if you wanted to write it on your calendar and say, okay, what is honesty and oversharing, right? So first when you meet somebody, and I take him to the stage of saying that, because nowadays days everybody don't have a title. Title to me is very important because it comes with responsibility. Hanging out with somebody, that person doesn't
Oh,
need to
okay.
know that, like you said, you're ex-drug addict or you're divorced or you're
Right.
abused or anything like that. They don't need to know that. Becoming a boyfriend, girlfriend, I want to know you, you want to know me for
Hmm.
just who we are right now.
Right.
Now we're planning on moving in together. Okay, let's label that. Now we're going to get to know each other a little bit and then, talk about that. Then we're planning on getting engaged. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
Okay, now we're getting married. Now, before you get engaged, you have to kind of tell them a little bit about you, know who you are. This is before do you commit to that saying yes.
Exactly.
So I color code them like this for them. Like don't pass those titles.
But this is
title.
great because relationships do have segments of exploration and discovery.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do is keep somebody in the appropriate box for the time period of where they are.
Yeah.
Correct? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Because each title matters. Like you said, if we do one night stand, that's a one night stand. That's
Yeah.
literally that's what it is.
Right.
Wash it off, move on with your life, you know? And then it comes the next one and the next one. But unfortunately, in today's society, a lot of young men and women, they don't have a title.
I
They
know.
just call it like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just hanging out. Or we're seeing each other. Or there's really not solid definition of that because why? Because it comes with responsibility,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's different to be a
Because
mother and to say that I like to be a mother.
yeah,
That's two different things.
exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So that's what I tell people to pay attention to when you go out with somebody. So sharing is to when you say put your cards down, this is what I'm looking for. Are you into that or not? If not, that's okay too. I don't want to go further than where I am right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But then saying that, oh my God, like my story of my life of what I've been through, that's not
Hmm.
necessary.
I agree. I agree because I watch my dog and they sniff each other at the park and they circle and they circle and they sniff each other's private areas, but they're getting all the information they need, kind of like, do I like you, am I going to like you, are you healthy, what do I feel about you? And then they decide if it's just, you see them, they're like, okay, I've had enough, you're cool. And then sometimes I see little Nika, my little dog, just jumping sideways. She does all these basketball moves, back and forth, and that she really likes the dog. So she sniffed them. Whatever's going on with them, she's in alignment, and then it's playtime. Otherwise, it's like sniff, sniff. How are you? Yeah, nice. Okay, whatever. And
Yeah.
and we can take that like doggies meeting at a park. It's just first dates are just a vibe sensation. You said you do a lot with body language. It's a lot of how do I feel?
Yeah.
Can I be
Yeah.
myself? Do I like you? Are you interesting? Do I find you pug ugly? Do I find you somewhat attractive? Or do you look nothing like your photo? Whatever. Okay. Are you normal? Are you not normal? What's going on with you? So that's just a vibe check. Yeah.
Oh,
What
absolutely.
what's kind of frightening is the emails. So I get emails. I don't know whether you do, but I have them write me so that I have material for the videos.
Hmm.
And also, I read them on my podcast.
Hmm.
I'll just like without the video element, I just read them for the podcast to get through them quickly enough. And people will write me about their relationship. They have a guy that I'm been involved with for the last year. He
Hmm.
lives in no, in some foreign country, and I'll write them back and say, "Are you in a committed relationship? Have you ever met this person? How?" So they think they're in a relationship because they've got an online conversation.
Right.
And they
Right.
call it their boyfriend. They've never physically met.
Hmm.
Guy just, I mean, it's like, and guys too, and I don't mean that it's only the women, but the
Yeah.
men too think they
Yeah.
have a relationship with this beautiful woman in Colombia because they talked to her on the phone and they send her some money. I'm like, oh, dude, please, So this color coding, as you call it, but the being very clear about what segment you are in. Sometimes the time period can move quickly from
Yeah.
one segment to the next.
T'other, yeah.
So there's no hard and fast rule like 3 months before you do this or whatever. But you have to have complete, you can't jump those steps before you
Yeah.
get to the next segment.
Hmm. For me, it's important because a lot of our listeners send me an email. So they
Okay,
send
good.
me, yeah, by listening to these episodes, they send me email. But my clients are like also asking me, like, for example, when should I have sex with this person? Or
Mm,
when should I say that, we're boyfriend, girlfriend? Or when should I have the conversation of we're going to move in together? And
right.
that is coming from their own inner work that
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you feel about it? Like you said, the time can go faster or slower. For some
Right.
people, 1 week is
Right.
enough. For some people, they want to be 2 years before they do something, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that is why it's so important. Each person is different. One glove doesn't fit
Yes.
all.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. And it's good that you're there to help them through it because you're able to distinguish that. Some coaches have very hard and fast rules and they're kind of black and white in their thinking. And it
oh, I
does
am.
take an intelligent, kind of empathic person to read between the lines and get a feeling of what's safe and at what pace one should function in their relationship.
So let's go back to our question. If it's trust broken in a relationship, what are
Mm.
some healthy way that people can rebuild it?
Val, that's really hard. I want to be hopeful with this, but I describe it like this. Have you ever had a fine piece of china and it gets a crack or it gets a chip and you glue it back and it looks okay? Might hold the coffee or the espresso, but it's always there. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard. I've never known, and if it is betrayal, cheating, I don't know that it has ever fully worked out where it doesn't come back in a future conversation like, after all, you cheated. I know people that have stayed together with a lack of trust because they were tired, older, and just didn't want to go through it again. And they didn't mind having somebody in their life because it's a couple's world. But I think it's hard.
Mhm.
I'm being honest. Maybe that's not your philosophy. You have to, if if it's a stumble early on, there are stumbles that people have. You hear stories about guys that cheat with the waitress
Yeah.
or the stripper at the bachelor party,
Mhm.
or people that have cold feet in the beginning of the relationship have a drunken affair. Here are my exclusions for that. There are some people new to the business world, say, for example, a young guy or young woman kind of out on a business account and they're in a different city and they get a little drunk and they get high. And they're kind of in the semi blackout. They make out with somebody or they kind of end up in a room. They're like, oh my God. They wake up in the morning. There's another person in the bed.
Next time.
They're terrified. They don't want to tell their partner. They love their partner too much to lie to them. They don't know what to do. That's what I call a one off because there's such a sense of, I wasn't really in my full mind. And I realize some people can use that as an excuse, but it does exist in the real world. Or sometimes you get roofied and you don't remember. That's different. But let's just say that you blacked out and this other you came forward. Um, that's different. Your partner will be, uh, it'll be hard for them. But in that case, it wasn't conscious and voluntary. They will be hurt thinking that subconsciously you do want somebody else, but you
Yeah.
just went on sexy autopilot, and that's very normal. So then you have to understand, you kind of owe them one. So you know that if they forgive you for
I
that and
love
move
that.
on, you're like, okay, dude, I owe you. I owe you one. I'm not saying go use that hall pass, but I owe you one
Mhm.
for a hard one for me. And then you've got to look at them with fresh eyes. If you are going to move forward, you've got to say, this hurts me, this kills me. Are you committed to working through it? I'm going to, one time, it's a one off. Repeat, there's no repeat.
What do you think of dating apps?
I, I have gotten on them in the past for like radio shows that I had to do or to check something. And the swarm of people initially with the fresh meat in the fish tank, but it is the way most everybody meets. It is polluted, we know that, but it's still the number one way that people meet. You hear people every day, how'd you meet? We were on the app. I know. It's become common and people are less social. There's been a lot of trying to make people meet in person, but Gen Z is very uncomfortable to even talk to people in
Mm.
person. And we've lost many of our communication skills. And now with Chat GPT, we don't even have to, worry about how to say it. Just like let them know I like them, but sound cool. Copy paste. So
Right.
it's going to happen. You have to know the rules of the road. Just imagine that 60% of what you're attracted to that looks, oh my God, does this guy really like me? Or is this woman? Oh my gosh, she's so hot. Probably a scammer, probably somebody in Cambodia having the shit beaten out of them and being given like just enough food to live that thought they were getting a job at an Indian tech center. I mean, it's really bad. Myanmar, really bad. I've traveled through Southeast Asia. I mean, it's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful, but the underbelly of what's going on there. And even in, listen, in Texas, in somebody's basement, they can do this stuff. I have a very savvy girlfriend, very streetwise. I mean, she knows game. When she got free from her husband, she fell for a guy because they're always improving, the scammers, and we knew the day we're like, oh, we don't have internet, or I'm in the middle of the ocean on a deep sea rig and our internet is out. Like that's not a thing. And the guy's talking to her and they're doing, FaceTime together, and so she's like thinking this is real. He was good. He was good until he said, "Get out the A7 envelopes." And she's like, "Oh my God, who took over?" I'm reading the text messages. I kept telling her this is not real. Ask him, because I had done a bunch of radio shows in South Africa, and he said he was from South Africa. And I said, he's got to know this guy. It's the biggest radio station. Ask her. She didn't want to know. She really didn't want to know. I tried not to make her feel bad about it. Kept telling her there's something not right with this. It's like you don't. I know about these sectors that you're talking about, offshore drilling. I know about this. Like you're telling me stuff that doesn't exist.
Well, that's a good trick, though.
They're
I love that
good.
trick. Yeah, you know what? That's a good trick the listener should listen to if you do and find out where they are,
Mm.
and go do a little research and find the famous celebrity there, or their president, or the capital of that country, or whatever that is, and ask them, and then you can
Yeah.
tell.
Listen, they're so sophisticated now. This is an enormous. The scam industry, even if they're selling bitcoins, is always has a romantic part to it. If
Hard
you
to,
listen to all these, because I love listening to this because I'm from Minnesota. I'm like literally the closest thing to the farmer's daughter. My father wasn't a farmer, but it's like we're like, oh yeah, you go first at a four-way stop sign. I believe everything people tell me, because why would you tell me? If you're
yeah.
not, you tell me you're going to write a book, you tell me that you're a famous Hollywood actress. I find out years later you've never had a speaking line. Like, why would you lie to me? I mean, I don't lie to you. So I've had to learn these things, and it's really interesting how it works. This is a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise. It's overtaking the money made on drugs, but they always have a romantic element. So if somebody a little too hot, a little too good looking, offering you all this stuff, there's there's something at the other end, and you'll find out. And they have leaderboards. They track everybody. They learn
Okay.
everything about you. The guy that was tracking my girlfriend, I think he was in Texas, but he was saying he was outside of Istanbul. Like that's not it. Just at any rate, he gave her an exact address of a condominium that he bought in a gated community in our neighborhood that she could drive by. Showed her pictures of it, pulled it offline. I mean, they have incredible IT research, and
Mm,
they have leaderboards. And that's why when you're talking to the person, you'll suddenly notice a shift in tone, and that's somebody else is taking over, because they'll
right.
do, "Good morning, honey. How are you? I missed you." I remember the first time they were using Chat GPT. I looked at one of these things that she got, and I said, "This is insane. This isn't a person. Good morning. I hope you had a good breakfast. Breakfast is an essential part of the morning routine and sets you up to think clearly." I'm like, who writes
Who's
like that? Nobody writes like that. So somebody that speaks a foreign language is like, "Oh, what's a good thing to say in the morning? I'm getting tired of saying good morning, honey." So, they're getting very good now. And then with 11 labs, with the ability to impersonate anybody's voice, and with AI avatars that are so good. Like I've been trying to AI myself and just get out of the business altogether, just have AI Susan. And we're not that far from it. I had a company working on this a year ago, like my real material, but
Yeah.
I can be in pajamas with dirty hair talking to you, but then look like this. This is actually the real me, I got to say.
Right, 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 right,
But
right.
they're so good that you can have somebody talking to you that you fully believe is real, and the mouth is moving, and it's the same one that you hear on the phone. You don't even know that they're real. And that's as of today. It's going to get so good 3
I
months from
know.
now, 6 months from now.
Yeah.
So the rule with online: meet as soon as possible. If it takes them longer than 2 weeks because they're out of town, work, just move on. It sounds sketchy already. It does.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10
Two
days
weeks
to
is
2 weeks. That's it. You can't meet in that time. Then you just write back, "You know what? When you're in town, give me a call." And they keep after you. "Yeah, I plan on coming. Yeah, we'll spend Valentine's Day together. Yes, I can't wait to see you for the 4th of July, whatever. Mm-mm. Call me
yeah.
when you're in town.
Genuine connection is gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has to get worse before it gets better. I think it has to get that much scam and stuff like that, that people actually be like, you know what? It's not too bad to go to the bar and sit down and have a couple of drink and pick somebody from the bar. That
Yeah,
sound isn't too bad, now?
I know. And it might be uncomfortable to be social, but we need to work on our skills and to meet people, and also let's figure out where we're meeting people depending upon what you want. If you want casual dating, bars are fine. If you want to go niche, maybe get somebody that supports one of your interests or your hobbies. I know running clubs were huge. Everybody was using them for dating. They didn't even really run, they kind of trotted,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
they
yeah.
wanted to be in it. A hobby, a musical, any kind of yes, people that like music festivals. I mean, just get in with a
Yeah.
collection of people that are actually doing something you like. You're a stamp collector, go. You're a hockey person, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. So try and find,
Yeah.
because you're open to meeting somebody there, but you're already going to have a good time because you actually like this thing that you're attending. So that
Mm.
helps.
Well, since you have been through this experience, one of the our listeners asked that is older woman and younger men relationship actually less, or just that phase that people go through, and if I am in it, I just have to know that it's not a long term.
It can be both. It can be both because there are people that so the publisher demanded 200 interviews, 200 couples. So I found a lot of, I mean, I listened to the stories. There are people that have been together a lifetime. They really have.
Mm,
And the wider the age gap, the more difficult it is to transition through the latter part of life. Like 30 and 40, you're fairly similar. 50 and 60, that's kind of normal. 16, 20, 25 years. I have a friend that's now very successful. He's gay. He and his husband are looking at, he's ready to think of, how do I want to spend the remaining years of my life? His partner is not at the income level, nor is he inherently going to be the kind of earner that my
mm,
friend is. So he's like scared and he's like, oh my God. And so they thought it was actually an age issue, but in many cases, it's a typical relationship issue. This is a financial and power based issue more than it is age.
mm,
But the larger the age gap, the harder it is to transition through the later years of life. Women most chronically suffer from feeling like, oh my God, one day he's going to look at me and just realize I'm old. And I'm like, girl, he already knows that. He does. Should you consider it to be a one off? It depends on your disposition and his. Is he checking off the boxes? Now I find it so interesting that so many young men are open to dating older women. You're welcome. You're welcome. As the one that brought it to you. This I did my book pre-Cougar. So
yeah.
that's why it was so controversial, because it was about loving, committed relationships of 10 years or more difference. So it depends. There are some extraordinary younger men who want an older woman because she has emotional depth, she has maturity, she knows who she is, she doesn't have time to play games. And because she knows who she is, she doesn't have to play games. And they love the power that she has. Whereas some same aged men or older men find all those qualities threatening because they
Mm,
can't lead or dictate the way they'd like to. So it depends. Her internal struggles will always be the process of aging and thinking that he's going to leave because of it. But then again, we're assuming that every young guy is hot with a 12 pack of abs, and they're not. The couples that I interviewed, there were some pudgy kind of young guys losing their hair and some really hot older women. And there were older women that looked older and had never met a stairmaster or a plastic surgeon. So, I mean, it's just everything. When you find the right person, sometimes the externals fall away. And oftentimes we will shy away from being with a person that doesn't match our checklist, but it could be the right person. That person may come in a job description title that may think you wanted this, and they come with that. They may come from a different social strata, a different educational strata, a different culture, different color. You don't know, same gender. You didn't think you were going there. So I think we have to be open to checking where we are resonant and are they in resonance with us as the final barometer to this difference, whether it's age or anything else.
Susan, thank you so much. This was so great. I really appreciate all these answer and your insight for our listeners to listen and learn something. And I definitely will put your books in there for our listeners
Oh,
to
sweet.
read.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I really appreciate your time.
Valerie, thank you so much. You're a doll to talk to. I appreciate you as well. And the work that you're doing, guiding your clients through those different segments. That's very important work. So thank you.